this was not my intention. Taking over a month off, like, yeah, I was like, oh, I'm only 2 chapters behind. I've done that before. I've been on vacation. I can catch up. I'm only 2 chapters behind. And every week I kept saying I was only 2 chapters behind, when in reality, as of today, I am 5 chapters behind, and the latest chapter is releasing today, meaning I am 6 chapters behind, which means I have a lot of work to do. Again, apologies. It was my mistake. But it was a good sabbatical. It was a good reprieve because, it takes a lot of energy editing and all that and reacting and all that. It's not for everyone. It's not really my preference to do this every single day, which is why I don't do it every single day. I couldn't handle it. But in reality, the story was at a point where, like, I could take a break, because it was like the last thing I remember. I just read the last chapter, 1122, just as a refresher, because I haven't read anything since then. So I read it as a refresher, and I remember everything that happened with the Iron Giant and 5 Elders, and the fact that there's 5 chapters after that where I know a few things. I couldn't avoid every single spoiler, but mostly I'm blind for the most part, like 85%. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I know less than that. Like, wow. So without further ado, let's get into chapter 1123, The Void Fortnight. Man, I'm a little anxious because I'm like, if I've never gone this long without, yeah, never. Okay, everything is recording. Come in, Egghead. What's happening? Oh, you're right, the hockey blast. Wake up, the Straw Hats are escaping. Okay, so... Oh! The last thing I remember is that the Elders got teleported back, and I saw all the grunts passing out from the hockey, but the Vice Admirals weren't last chapter. They were withstanding it. Now we look and we see that the Seraphim S-Snake has withstood it, but the Vice Admirals that previously were awake have all passed out. Pomsky and Dahl are both passed out. That is impressive. Of course, Joey Boy's hockey doesn't surprise me being that strong, but still, like, the fact that one chapter the Vice Admirals withstand it, like they always have. Vice Admirals very rarely pass out to hockey, and now we see Vice Admirals, I think, for the first time passing out to hockey, because, yeah, rank means nothing now. I'm impressed, and I'm glad that is clarified. Whoa, it's true, they're all knocked out captains. No kidding. Was that even stronger than Red Hair's? There was no hostility to it. Interesting. They're comparing it to Shanks, but hockey has hostility, or lacks hostility, depending on the person. That's good to know. Haha, thank you, Giant Robo. Then let's take advantage of their slumber and get the heck out of here. Ga-ba-ba-ba-ba. Haha, I like the sound of that. Let's get going, boys. Let's set sail to Elbaf. Right, Elbaf. Bonnie, Zoro, Usopp, Dory, Bruggy, Chopper, Nami, Luffy, passed out. Sanji. What you said back there just doesn't sit right with me. Was this what you wanted, Vegapunk? Was it? I couldn't hear everything, but you said some pretty outrageous stuff. Right, and we also didn't hear a lot of it, which is probably the most annoying thing. Because what is it that we don't know? 2 weeks ago, Egghead. Okay. Okay, is this going to confirm my theory? I don't know many spoilers. Maybe I know like 1 or 2 things, but that's very little compared to what I don't know. And so, is this going to confirm that one theory I made in my podcast episode? There's an abnormality in the numbers from the power plant. Yes, I'm certain of it. Look at the change in the particle number density and neutron flux. Oh, how Star Trek of you. The amount of energy expenditure on the Seraphim has been inching upward. If that's a mistake in our calculations, it's a grave one. Huh, wait, those aren't the numbers we confirmed, are they? The response rate is rising, but the power plant remains stable. Yes, which means that this data represents evidence that someone has stolen some of the Mother Flame. So, 2 weeks ago, our boys, Stella, Shaka, Pythagoras, are probably the only ones who knew that the Mother Flame was being stolen. And 2 weeks ago, no less. Like, wow. Like, we saw that coming. They mentioned that all of the numbers regarding the power plant have been carefully manipulated to look normal, and the only one who could pull off such a feat is Vegapunk. Was it Lilith? She's evil. uh, so they couldn't be sure it was someone for sure. But the first thing Stella suspected was Lilith because she's evil. That is a funny gag. I'm sorry to say that we're the only three with airtight alibis. Okay, so it could have been, at this point, it could have been Lilith, Edison, York, or I guess Atlas. Yeah, they're the only ones other than them. The amount of energy that was siphoned off is vast, so it was one of the remaining four then, like Lilith. And that's why you want us to put our brains on stealth mode? Oh, they have a stealth mode. I mean, obviously incognito is what they mean. Haha, VPN. Yes, if this experience is shared with Punk Records, then Lilith, then the culprit will know we're onto them. Wow, he really suspects Lilith. 1 week ago. Okay, time skip. Oh dear, I've identified the culprit. It's York. So they did know this whole time. Crazy. How does this play out? What? Information synced with Punk Records was all dummy memories. Even the video footage was faked from the camp snails along the infiltration route. But why? For what purpose? Also, forgive me, Lilith. You better. Lilith is perfect. I found evidence that the Sea Beast weapons were controlled as well. Traces of wiretapping white transponder snail usage detected. Well, technically black ones wiretap. White ones encrypt wiretapping. I mean, block it by encrypting the call. Found it. I've successfully recovered the data of this long-distance snail call. Dr. Vegapunk is studying the Void Sentry. A transmission to Marijua. No wonder Cypherpole was coming to investigate so often. Okay, it's all coming together. And in a flashback, no less. 6 days ago, they say the kingdom of Lelouch is gone. The details are unclear as of yet, but it can only be an omen. Pythagoras, keep a close eye on wireless transmissions and underground reservoir levels. I will. Do you think it's related to the stolen Mother Flame? I do. She must have used the Sea Beast weapons to transport it to the government. Okay. If I may speak without evidence to back it up, I'm certain the world government is in possession of an ancient weapon. Okay, we suspect that as well. They've used the Mother Flame. York gave them to activate it. So it's specifically an ancient weapon that requires activation energy. And we know it's not Poseidon, and we suspect it's not Pluton, unless we're mistaken in thinking that Pluton is underneath Wano. For all we know, Pluton is still underneath Wano, but we don't know if that's for sure, and we don't know whether or not it requires energy. So when all else fails, the only remaining conclusion is that the ancient weapon that destroyed Lucia was Uranus, which is what everyone's assuming. But what if it's another red herring? We'll keep that in the back of our heads. Put a pin in that. They've used the Mother Flame York gave them to activate it. We will see the grisly results soon enough. I know in my heart it is true, but I cannot go public with it. This is all my fault. I should never have tried to isolate greed from the human mind. So York could not be controlled because she was isolated from Vegapunk. I agree. To keep stuff like evil and greed and violence in check, which is half of the Vegapunks, you gotta keep them combined with the other three. Wisdom and intelligence. Like, separating them was so stupid on Stella's part, but that's just Oda's decision for writing purposes. It's not really something to be too fixed on. Just some philosophy. Psychology, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Do you think that we could apprehend York to keep her from causing more harm? No, it's already too late. Whatever York is after, it doesn't matter. Anyone who learns of the Void Sentry will be eliminated. By recklessly handing over the Mother Flame to them, York has demonstrated her potential value. We would never have done such a thing without thoroughly determining the purpose and safety of it first. There's still time for us to flee, Stella. Then I requisition an escape ship, one that will evacuate all the residents of Egghead. It is too late for us, however. Secret orders have already gone out to various naval branches. It will hound us to the very ends of the earth, and to die anywhere else would be to die in vain. More importantly, Egghead has facilities and tools that O'Hara did not 22 years ago. I have the means to maximize the reach of my voice. Yes. He did plan this. The closer I get, the darker it looms. Just what is the world government? Just what is the world government? If I must die, it won't be for nothing. I'm sorry this had to happen to you. Okay, so this looks like it's still going to go on before it confirms or denies my theory. Let's find out by the end of the chapter. I'm sorry this had to happen to you. That's silly. We're both Vegapunk too, you know. We were thinking the same thing. If only you could say the same for the others. I mean, specifically York. The only question, Stella, is what death means. Indeed. This brings up a question I brought up in a previous video. At least I hope I did. When Stella dies, if he dies, and I still am not 100% sure if he's dead, but I'm assuming, I'm 99% sure Stella's dead. What happens to his devil fruit? Does it remain alive in the brain in the vat that they're looking at? Or does it also pass? Does his intelligence remain? It's one of those weird things, like, does the effect of a devil fruit disappear? Like, for example, Sugar's devil fruit, when they get knocked out or killed? Or is it more like, oh, I cut this with my dice fruit, and that's still going to remain cut if I pass out, you know? There's two types of effects when it comes to devil fruits. Active magic and passive magic. And that's how I analyze it. And the question remains, is the brain in a vat something that remains intelligent once he dies? Does the devil fruit remain, or does it leave? So many questions. Indeed. There is one other thing we cannot afford to lose. The cloud plant that produces island clouds. Those clouds might be the foundation of humanity's survival after all. Ah, I heard people talk about this. You know, one of the brief spoilers. Nothing big. But he's referring to the flooding of the world. So island clouds, very important. Huh? What's the Stella doing here? Ah, York. Just doing what I always do. Giving the Mother Flame a little test run. If we can move this thing with it, it just might be the ideal energy source. That's true. I hope you finish your experiment soon. I do too, but that it stays incomplete is my only hope. So, he was messing with the Iron Giant, and she was none the wiser. Two days ago. Go ahead, we're recording. Ahem, hello? Check, is this on? Hello out there, come in world. Ahem, I am Dr. Vegapunk, a humble genius scientist. You're going to be shocked by this. But it is the truth, and everyone has a right to know it. No one will expect that the transponder snail is hidden within here. Okay, so that confirms it was hidden inside the Iron Giant. I mean, we knew that, but like... Oh, but they did it before meeting with Luffy? And now it's set up to transmit upon my death. The details don't matter about when they did it. Oh? And to prevent anyone else from learning that we have arranged this little trick, I will be erasing this event from our minds. Oh my goodness. Mother of retcons. Mother of retcons. It's not even a retcon, sorry. It's just that, wow. No wonder they acted like they didn't know it was York, because they forgot. They literally knew, and then they didn't know. Oda, you genius. I should have seen that coming. To prevent anyone else from learning that we have arranged this little trick, I'll be erasing this event from our minds. No way. However, this will come at the cost of many other memories, such as York's betrayal and theft of the Mother Flame, and the imminent threat to our lives. We will be startled anew by these things, indeed. We will be frightened all over again. However, our plans will already have been laid, and the utter disaster that awaits just around the corner is none other than our ultimate triumph. Why am I here? This is the memory mass testing lab. Wait, this is my handwriting. Okay, so he left himself a note. Good morning, gentlemen. You will find that within your memory there is now a Void Fortnight, but it was done of your own volition. There are many surprises in store for you. LOL. Huh? But I will leave you with one piece of information. Wow, so instead of a Void Century, it's a Void Fortnight. Which is like, what, 20 days? Like, I'm trying to remember. Or is it 2 weeks? I forget. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. I will leave you with one piece of information. He literally said there are many surprises in store for you. LOL. Who translated this? I like that. Okay. I will leave you with one piece of information. The world government knows about your research into the Void Century. What they do? But rest assured that you've already put together the perfect countermeasure before you hurtle toward your glorious death. Death? Who's mine? And one more thing. Stella, Straw Hat, the Emperor of the Sea has just landed here with Bonnie. What? CP6 has landed. What? We're surrounded by Navy battleships. When he says CP6, I assume he's referring to Rob Lucci's ship. And even though Rob Lucci is CP0, he was with non-CP0 agents who, because, you know, not everyone is CP0. So I guess that they were CP6. We're surrounded by Navy battleships. What? It's Admiral Kizaru and St. Saturn. What? Man, he did not see that coming after the memory wipe. Well, wait, what was the last thing on the note? He said, and one more thing, and then they just cut off. I want you to know that we're going down to save Bonnie. I intend to remain down there. Ah. Huh? But you'll die. I don't want you to save me. Just leave me down there to perish. Huh? You got a death wish or something? Ah, so this explains when Sanji made a promise to Bonnie that he'll save Vegapunk. He was making his smile face that he does whenever he's like faking confidence. He was just trying to cheer her up, even though this happened before that, this flashback. So Sanji, Frankie, and Atlas heard Stella say this. Certainly not, but I feel like my death might cause something to happen. It sure will. Ah, he wanted the message to get triggered. He couldn't trigger the message until his heart stopped. A bunch of people will be upset. I can't just let you die. Pretty please. And one other thing. When it comes to the One Piece, what now? I want your crew to be the ones who get it. Okay, I thought he was going to say something that we shouldn't know, but that's fine. He's just saying he wants us to get it. Of course he does. A toast to reuniting with old friends. Lay her, lay her. Yeah, Luffy's still in old man mode. Onward to Elbaf. Onward to my dream. And to be continued. Man, I'm so glad to have read that chapter, but at the same time, I am very upset that I have 5 more to go through, and I told myself I can't get them done today. But I'll try my best to get through them. Like, maybe I'll read another one. I think I have time. How much time do I have? Like, I have a few hours. Yeah, that was a good information. But it wasn't what I was expecting. Like, all of the post-Egghead and Elbaf stuff that I've heard so much about, it hasn't happened yet. So yeah, there's still a lot I don't know. Good chapter. And I should stop wasting time. I got 5 more chapters to read. Thank you again. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want. Consider what? It's been a while. Just I'll see you next time.